to the first game of the round of 16 between KVM Academy
Yes, yes.
and Grove, who won all their games in their group.
Yep. Of course, Grove had a group of 3, and they won both games, so they went 2-0 in their group. And I think they last week went through the round of 16 against Team Thrill, which is a pretty big upset. They got to do there, and then they lost in the quarterfinals on Sunday to BSV Academy, 2-1. So pretty strong performance, as BSV did eventually go through to the finals, where they then lost, of course, to Ion Squad Academy. As we are jumping into the draft here, the Elise ban, very expected. Kicks plays basically only Elise. And then on the other side, the Kaiser ban against Mindrago. We've seen it before. It's not unexpected, and so very normal bans up to now, as well as the Hekrim and the Olaf against the jugglers on both sides.
And in our interview before with Bisco, we talked a little bit about the Graves, how they played Graves 3 times today. Not this game, however, because Grove will be banning it away themselves. And I am hoping that we will see a Twitch this game, because of course Moonman is Twitch main. He plays the champion so much, he knows how to play it, and we don't see Twitch often in the bot lane anymore, even though he's really strong. And there are different possibilities on him now. AP Twitch, it's a thing. You can play that.
Absolutely.
If you need some AP in the bot lane, you can go for it. So not sure how we're gonna see it. We see an Annie coming in here, but I'm not sure.
Should be a
if
placeholder.
If this is a placeholder or not, because we're not using pro drafts.
Message
so
coming through. It's Zoe. So Zoe is going to be picked here. Picked up for Cruelty, who, Zoe, one of his highest mastery champions, plays it quite a lot, likes to play it as well, of course, as is the case with champions that you master. So, gonna be pretty scary for the side of KVM here, who are facing the Oriana mid for Jerry. Jerry's gonna have to be careful there. Jin is being picked up as well on the side of Grove, as Leona. Haven't seen her today on the side of KVM yet, as this time around, no bans, no Nautilus picks, just the Leona. Could we possibly see the Leona Vayne? Maybe. Could be possible.
Don't think they will draft it right now. Usually we see that Vayne coming in once they pick the likes of an Alistar or anything tanky like that. Instead, they will choose the Senna, which is most likely gonna go bot lane, of course. It is flexible to other lanes, but Senna solo lane is ill. So we're gonna take into account that Mindrago will be playing the Senna here. And I was said we haven't seen Leona today. Last week Ollie played Leona almost every game. And we already have like a sweet wombo combo coming in with 3 AoE ultimates and some good CC. The Gragas is being picked up. We've seen it the first game today against Iron Squad Academy, where Goodbye played a really, really strong Gragas. Didn't go full tank. He went AP Gragas and basically one-shotted Mindrago at some point.
Gragas is placeholder for Janna.
Is it a placeholder? Didn't expect in this meta for Gragas to be a placeholder for Janna.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Very true.
Danak, he plays a lot of Janna. He's one of those players who also doesn't really bank on going for tank engage champs.
Yep.
So Janna is change of pace.
You would expect it to be the other way around, to have a Janna placeholder for Gragas, especially in this day and age. But Janna does get picked up, of course. Janna Jin. I guess Janna gets played with Imperial Mandate, or maybe even Moonstone Renewer could be a possibility here. Gonna shield up that Jin very nice in lane, giving him extra survivability, extra attack damage, of course, as the bans are coming through. Rek'Sai was the second most played jungler for Kicks last season, so they take that away from him as well. Olaf, also one of his stronger mastery picks, and KVM clearly not wanting to give Kicks those champions. I believe Kix is the highest rated player as well on Team Grove, so banning him out, not a bad choice at all. And, you know, Jarvan does get picked up here. Pretty safe jungler. Gank heavy, has decent clear. You know, can get out of sticky situations, can get into other sticky situations. And there it is. Wukong, haven't seen him for a while today, of course that is. Mortar, first time picking up that Wukong with the Sejuani this time around. Good combination between those two. Quite some CC, easy stun procs for the Sejuani as well. And then, of course, once again, in the bottom lane, paired with that Leona, quite a lot of CC. And this is something that KVM likes to draft quite a lot of. These wombo combo type press R onto 5 people compositions, right? We have the Sejuani, the Leona, there's a Senna ult and can go over the top as well. Wukong spinning around on top of that once again. So there's a big wombo 5v5 team fight, and we've seen KVM pick these fights, these types of comps before. Let's see if they can do something with it this time against the likes of Team Grove.
Yeah, they have that wombo combo going on. Of course, we love seeing Mortar on Wukong, and it was especially a good pick here because Durkin also plays Wukong, so he doesn't only lock it in for himself, but takes it away from his counterpart. Of course, this does mean that Durkin should know how to play against the Wukong. He locked the set in because it was very brief that we saw it. So set against Wukong should be able to do something there. In theory, you could even phase break him against his own clone, so you do get a stun off in that regard. But of course, you can also totally derp your your ult on the clone and miss. So it's definitely a skill matchup, but set. We'll see how he handles that lane. For now, KV Mechela's team fight looking very solid.
Yep. Durkin picking up the set as the last pick into the Wukong. Once again, Set, one of the high mastery champions for Durkin, should be able to do quite a bit on to him. Of course, on the other side, Mortar's Wukong, we saw it last week. He played a mean Wukong. So maybe he can do the same thing again today, as we are in a redraft. Of course, this time, no placeholders, just the correct draft. As Gragas was indeed a placeholder for Janna, so it's very strange, but you know, strange things happen all the time, so let's go.
We'll see. Dynamic's Janna is his pocket pick, so for him it's not strange, of course. And we'll see if he can have the great impact with the Jhin in the bot lane. Of course, Janna's shield can be very oppressive, and the ultimate, the Monsoon, can help them as well, because KV Mechela, all they want to do is engage on them. And with a Monsoon and with a Jarvan ult, you do have some possibility of disengage. Even the ult from Set can, the showstopper, can throw them back in the face. So if they can break that and do enough poke damage with Zoe and Jhin, what they of course are very good at, they might be able to out-sustain them in a siege. And that being said, Oli on Sejuani, we've seen it once. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that it was against Sector 1.
I think so as well.
And it really beasted on the champion. It's not like the carry jungle where he like plays with Nidalee or Hecarim and then he tries to have that early impact for his team. But here he's just gonna help Bisco with the engages, with tanking for his team and making sure that they have the space to do damage, because we've seen Mandrago really stepping up in the previous games, going ham in the front without much protection. Like with Tristana, he jumps in, Samir, he jumps in, and he really has to do it on his own. Maybe this game will be a little bit more relaxed for him, that he can just auto attack front to back while his front line is doing the work. That's of course a possibility that you create when picking that up in the jungle.
Yeah, KVM with a very hard engage comp. Once again, ball delivery systems on Leona, Sejuani even, Wukong, with the invisible ball delivery. Orianna picked up a lot of the times by KVM in these types of comps, of course, because you can put the ball into the backline, on top of the fact that, you know, the shockwave works really well with the composition, of course. On the other side, as you said, the guys on Team Grove have a composition that can counter engage or disengage onto the engage from KVM. If KVM jumps in with the Wukong, Sejuani, and or Leona, as you said, Sed pushes them back in. Jarvan can flag drag Cataclysm on top of that, and suddenly you have a counter engage, which is very much could turn very much in favor of Team Grove. So KVM is gonna have to be careful. Wukong gonna have to look for those flanks, and they have to make sure that they don't get poked down too much by Zoe. And chat already saying that the Tunk is incoming. We saw it last week. Tunk, Wukong, the Monkey King himself, KVM Order, back at it. We'll see if they can actually figure this one out on the side of KVM, if they can find the flanks, find the right engages, or maybe if Team Grove can actually, as we said, counter engage, disengage at the right times, and then start poking with the Jhin, with the Zoe. See what they can do with that, maybe.
And it's nice to see him on his scary champ, because he has been playing Pantheon a lot today. He's been doing well. He had some hard times against the Aatrox in the lane today, but that aside, he really had the impact and the synergy, especially with Oli. When he was on Talia, that's just such an easy combo to pull off. And you have a Set here who doesn't really have an escape or anything to use when he's getting the gank with the CC that you have with Sejuani. So we'll see if Oli chooses to go top again for strong side, or if he is going bot, because they draft a comp with so much CC, so much engage, then you have all the freedom in the world to do ganks. And then the question is, will Kings hover that side, or will he choose zone route, gank his own lanes? Who would you focus if you were Grove in this instance?
As in which lane?
Yeah, what would you play strong side as jungler?
I mean, the Janna Jhin has, of course, potential with Janna getting an easy Zephyr W onto the Senna, for example, followed up by a Jhin snipe. Of course, then again, if he misses that, it's a lot more difficult. Jarvan, of course, gives that extra lockdown potential onto Senna, who is very, very immobile. However, Senna has her range, has her healing, has her own type of disengage with the bind as well. And on the other side, there's, of course, I think mid lane is difficult. If you find the sleepy bubble trouble thing onto Orianna, you can follow that up with your flag and drag from Jarvan. But of course, mid lane, it's a bit more difficult to gank. And top lane, there's an easy setup with the phase breaker from Set as well. I believe if they can get Set ahead or Wukong behind, it's going to be a lot more difficult for KVM to actually find the engages and hit the backline the way they want to. If KVM cannot get Mortar ahead and cannot put Wukong in that driver's seat, I'm going to kill everybody in half a second kind of situation, there's a lot of damage on the side of KVM, which is then going to not be there. So I believe if they can tone down the Wukong, they're going to make it hard for KVM.
Yeah, and of course, Set being this champion where you have so much possibilities with build-wise, he can go full tank, he can go heavy damage, he can do everything that he wants. And we'll see what he's gonna choose here. Because a full tank Set, you're not gonna be able to take that down so easily. And he still does so much damage when he can dunk your tank on your face. And there are a lot of tanks. Or he can go tank melter route himself, go for that Blade of the Ruined King, Stride Breaker, be it a nuisance, which is what I expect in this game. Not a Wall of China here in this first game between KV Mechelen against Grove in this best of 3. They might find Durkin here, but they have been spotted out.
Yes, as we do go on to the Rift for this first game, of course, between KVM and Team Grove. Best of 3 this time around in the round of 16. Last week we had a best of 1. This time it's best of 3, meaning that this first game is not going to be decisive yet. Of course, the team winning this first game does go ahead, has a little bit more breathing room, can potentially change up their plan towards the second game, giving them 1 game of breathing room, as both teams are not going to go for the invade. Eventually KVM was looking for one, eventually not going to go for it, and also both junglers starting on opposite sides of the map. But both teams knowing this, as they have warded it on both sides as well.
Yeah, this can mean that Geeks might go for an invade on the blue side, and the question is, will Oli expect this or really do his own invade? How will they play this? There is a trap in the tribush here. Decide not to go head to head with Leona, however. Uh-oh.
They go for the cheese. Leona might continue here with Mandrago on the Senna with a couple auto attacks. And Moonman goes really low, really early on. Ignite was popped already onto Moonman, of course. Janna, more often than not, starting with her W, not having the shield up to be able to mitigate the damage coming from KVM's bottom lane, as they have a lot of poke and a lot of sustain with those Senna heals, which is very nice to have against Janna just throwing wind bird things at your face.
Yeah, and Moonman started out with boots and pots, which is really unorthodox start. Haven't seen it in ages. So the advantage is that he has more region, of course, you have more pots, but he could have died there. You don't have the extra health that you have from your starting item, so it's very easy to fall. And he really needs to count on being able to dodge the Zenith Blade with those boots. Of course, you have that channel that can help you a little bit there, but if you get hit, the boots mean nothing.
Then that gets yeah, that's not very great, of course, if you do get hit there. And boots are indeed not very useful, as Mortar is gonna juke, or at least try to juke, as Sejuani with first gank of the game. Haymaker's gonna come through. Really nice juke there by Mortar. He did still have his clone. The flash behind the flash. The auto attack first blood is for Set. The return kill is for Oli, but that was actually really well played by both sides. But eventually Durkin picking up the first kill of this game for himself.
It's the gank on mid.
Now Jarvan with a gank in the mid lane. Cruelty try and hit him up. Picked up a gourd drinker, by the way, with the balloons. And they're gonna look to go on to Jarvan this time around. Are they gonna find the stun? Is it gonna be enough? It is enough. Oli finding a second kill. Zoe flashing behind. Oli picking up another flash, able to get out of the next one as well if she wants to already use it. Now Set roaming to the mid lane as well. Bubble is gonna hit, so we're gonna be able to find the damage. Not gonna be enough. Orianna, by the way, playing with the cleanse this game against Zoe, which of course not a terrible choice. If you get bubbled, sniped by Jhin, yeah, you'll be in a world of hurt.
Some trades back and forth. It's 2-2. I like the aggression this game from both mid, top, and jungle. And yeah, the duel in the top lane, it was so close. Mortar doing some fine jukes there with the monkey, but yeah, Durkin just says, yeah, you can juke all you want. I'm gonna punch you in the face as fast as I see you. And he gets the first blood, so that's really, really good for him that he can do that in a 1v2 situation. And then of course afterwards it's the trade on the mid lane where Zoe is able to get the kill. And of course Orianna, Jerry gets the assist, so that is kind of worth for side of growth. See how this goes. The cleanse comes in, the Zenith Blade hits, but I don't think they will be able to follow on that one.
Jhin also playing with the cleanse against Leona, and of course Senna with that bind. Of course, once you cleanse one of those stuns, then you're pretty much doomed if the rest of the stuns hit. Then again, not playing with cleanse is even worse, because then there's really no chance to actually get out of the CC right now. And Oli back to playing the way we know him to play: early pressure, early ganks, getting them off. Not only putting pressure with a gank, but actually getting the ganks off. 2-1 and 0. Gold is basically even. First Drake of the game is an Ocean, gonna be pinged here by Team Grove. They're gonna run into the pit, start to do it. We don't have an Ocean Soul. From all the other souls, which one would we love to see here? What team wants which soul?
Well, I normally wouldn't say it because, of course, when you say Infernal, it's the obvious choice of the soul.
Not going to be Infernal though.
In this case, I think a Cloud Rift would not be bad because you have it for KVM at least, because you have a team fight comp that really benefits of the ultimate cooldown. And while we're saying is Durkin in the 1v2 again, but can he get that kill? Nope, the monkey just slaps him down. 1 kill for Mortar.
Yeah, uses the showstopper to try and find the damage and maybe even find an escape. Of course, with that double cyclone. We've seen him do it so often. The cyclone once, decoy, cyclone again, getting the double cyclone off, and now kicks getting invaded slightly. Pings coming through. Wukong not bothered. Oh, as the Zenith Blade in the bottom lane almost connects with Jin. Still has the flash. So he's going to be able to get out of sticky situations for now. Of course.
We said, oh, there is
Shockwave, mid lane, maybe. Just doing it for the damage, not finding it for the kill. Tornado, Mindjago has to juke that one. Now there's a dunk in the mid lane, gank in the mid lane. Orianna needs flash to get out of that one. No kills in the mid lane, but the flash burn, so return ganks, definitely possible.
Yeah, you said Jin as the cleanse needs it because there's so much engage possibilities. Of course, Jin working really well in the meta with the new items. Once you have the Gale Force and you can buy a QSS, it's gonna be very hard to get an actual pick on him. Even though you have Leona, Sejuani, all these champions with CC, he's gonna be super slippery. And of course, with every crit, he gets the movement speed. So if he gets to that stage where he can just dodge everything and cleanse out of everything, QSS out of everything, it's gonna be really hard to fight him. Well, Ollie is hanging around at the bot lane, but they're pushed in, so they can't really do much. Next Drake, of course, isn't up, but they might want to look for an invade in their jungle. It's hard for them to contest, because for kicks not there, 3v2, so well played by them to steal away this buff, if they can, because mid lane moving.
It doesn't look like they want to. Orianna was not in mid lane, had just pressed that B button for a little bit of a recall, resetting her lane. And meanwhile, Mortar, he got to those kills, the kill and the assist, but he's having difficulties fighting set straight up. As KVM, they are not able to take away the blue buff. It's just, they just take their own buffs, which is fine, of course, taking away their own jungle. And gonna slowly but surely get that farm up. Sejuani trying to find some ganks, and Jarvan isn't really in the top lane as much as I would have thought. On the other hand, Sejuani has been there a couple of times already.
Yeah, mid lane is where it's at the moment, of course. Orianna not having the flash is easy pickings. Bot going hard on Bisco. Can they do something about it?
Solar Flare flash is gonna go hard. Are they gonna find Jarvan? It is gonna be enough. The auto attack from Moonman. He needs to flash to pick up the kill. He was too deep to not go for that one. If you're there, you don't flash for the kill, then you die for absolutely nothing. Now he does find the kill, and Leona surviving really, really long there. Well played by Bisco.
And is that a win? That you flash as well to get the kill on the support, and well, you know you're gonna die anyway, because
not necessarily.
You have Jin against so many threats. If in the next minutes you get a gank, you die again, because you wasted your flash on the support kill. So I'm not sure if that was the best what you could do. Meanwhile, Bisco looking for a stun here on Cruelty. Can he find it? Mortar also moving. Maybe flash a little bit late, but Zenith Blade goes wide there.
Flash is gonna come through to get out of that one. If Zenith Blade connects, then Zoe probably would have been dead. With the Orianna burst should be enough at this point. Janna clearing out some wards in the bottom side river. A couple of seconds, 30 seconds left before the next Drake spawns. First one, of course, going to Team Grove. Next one, KVM is in position for this. They're gonna try and take Janna looking to steal the crab. It's not gonna be enough. Solar Flare is Solar Flare was actually used there to get Jarvan out of there. Cataclysm gonna be up in a couple seconds. So for this next Drake, they should have their cooldowns back up and be able to fight this.
KVM has had some good Drake control in these past games. Of course, now they've lost the first one. If they lose the second one, then they potentially have 4 Cloud Drakes ready, and that is a lot of ultimate cooldown reduction for their comp. That would be beautiful. Or if they want to give that up, of course. Because, we've seen how early a soul can fall if you lose those early Drakes. Meanwhile, Mortar still fine in CS, even though he was getting slapped earlier. And Moonman in trouble, doesn't have the flash from the play earlier, remember that?
But Jarvan is there as well, got his Cataclysm ready to jump onto Mandrago. He has quite some healing. He's stuck in the Cataclysm, uses his stopwatch to actually survive that. And a kill for Jerry, 1-0 and 1. Oriana still has the Shockwave, uses the cleanse to get out of the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Another stun there for Sejuani, double kill for Oriana. Ollie playing a big part in this game once again. 4-1 and 4 Sejuani. Finding the picks, finding the kills with his team, and finding the first Drake of the game for them. And we're looking at a Mountain Rift.
Will be a positive thing for Ollie, because he is tanky, and for Bisco, but of course we won't see that ultimate cooldown reduction. And yeah, as I said, Moonman flashing earlier to get the kill on Bisco now needs to pay that heavily. Can't do anything in that fight, gets picked before his team's there. If he had the flash, it would have been different, so that's why I say not sure if it's worth dying there with the flash for a support kill, because yeah, then you get placed like this as an aftermath of that initial flash. Turk can get some plates, but the big win here was for KVM. 2k gold lead, they got their first Drake. Of course, 30 minutes in the game, so anything goes. But we do get the feeling that their teamfight comp is up there. And if Grove wants to execute their comp, they really need to group as well so they can poke them out and have all their disengage tools ready as well. Because if you are going to get picked as a bot lane, yeah, there's nothing you can do. They have just too much tools to engage. If they go another Senna, bind, everything, you'll die every time.
Meanwhile, Sejuani and Wukong going for the Herald in the top lane, picking that one up for their side. Now able to, of course, put some more extra pressure down onto the map soon with the Herald. Wukong did pick it up, should be placing it in the top side of the map, of course, as Oriana gonna come into the jungle, picking up the blue buff for herself. 2-0 and 1, ahead in farm, ahead in kills, down in deaths, basically doing well. KVM actually on every side of the map, basically winning at this point, as Team Grove not really finding their groove yet.
It's the calm before the storm. The objectives are resetting, they have the Herald. Haven't put it down yet. On the top lane, of course, the plates are gone, so the value is a little bit less. You can get that extra money from those towers. And we're basically waiting for the summoners to come back up at this point for everyone, so we can start fighting again. Because it is KVM who has been pulling the trigger on the plays, and it's Grove who has been playing a little bit more reactive, like Durkin, waiting for the gank to come and then playing that out solidly, but not really starting a play themselves. And that's kind of what I've been missing from them. They've went 2-0 in their group. Did they do that by playing reactive, or did they actually make the plays happen themselves? So Grove, I'm waiting for you.
Of course, they haven't played against the likes of KVM, who can come out of the gates pretty heavily. We've seen it before. They can put on a very strong performance early game, then have some difficulty closing out, where teams have turned it around for themselves. We saw it last week against Starland Gaming, I believe. Game 1, KVM really far ahead in the early game, not able to close it out, not finding the right plays to actually end the game, and then Starland taking over. So possibly once again KVM taking the lead in the early game, but will they be able to find the closing play, as they are looking for another gank here with Sejuani in the bottom lane?
Yeah, this is what I mean, KVM. They're setting up plays constantly, even though it might not happen. They're looking. Ollie is here, Ollie is in the top side, ganking time and time again, doing all kinds of stuff. And Kix, he is more like counter ganking everything where Ollie is. He's looking for that play, and that is not necessarily bad, but eventually you will need to make up your own plan as a team and get something. So Maybe their plan is we need to stall this early game out as long as possible, and eventually when we have items we can poke them out in a straight ARAM on the mid lane, and that is fine. But we'll have to see if they get to that point. For now, the Drake will respawn in 40 seconds. Then a play will happen, undoubtedly. For KVM, they will either take it contested or uncontested. And I hope Grove will at least try to do something here, because they have all the vision in the world. Will they protect it?
Both top laners, meanwhile, have finished their Gore Drinker, dead even in farm. Extra death on set, but aside from that, they're basically the same on the scoreboard. Class, practically identical items as well. So they should be able to both create some sort of annoyance in the back line of KVM. As once again, both teams setting up for Drake, and of course, classic Herald play in the mid lane as Drake spawns and KVM starting this one off for themselves.
It is a little bit sad because they had 2 or 3 pink wards, a lot of vision around the Dragon Pit, and the bot lane from Grove just stayed there. They didn't try to defend it at any point. Again, maybe this is what they want. Maybe they do not want to try anything out on this KVM lineup. But of course, what is your alternative, and when will you start being able to contest this? Bot lane looking for an engage here.
They are going to look for the engage. Are they going to find it? Gale Force from Jin being used. Solar Flare, all of the stuns of the world on Janna. She gets picked up. Double TP coming through. Flash actually from Leona as Set uses his ultimate to jump onto Senna. She goes down. They find the stun onto Durkin. Is it going to be enough? He doesn't have his Haymaker anymore. Sorry, he does actually have it. Uses it to survive the burst eventually. I thought he used that earlier, but I'm a dum-dum. And he actually had it still to survive that, but it looks like they might go for a little bit of a dive here. As Durkin finding the phase breaker this time for the stun, looking for the stun onto Set this time around. Are they going to find it? They should. But Durkin is too healthy at this point.
Dangerous.
He keeps running in again and again and again. Shockwave is there. One more Q, one more distortion is not going to be enough. As Set does eventually survive that little bit of burst and gets out almost scrap-free.
I don't know if you saw it, but Dynamic did a great tornado. He basically predicted the flash from Mandrago, so he flashed onto the tornado knockup. Didn't really matter, they still got the kill. Took 20. Meanwhile, Mandrago getting engaged by Kicks, doesn't have the flash, and he gets picked up fairly free. Question is, can they get the kill in return? Kicks should not be able to get out of this. They have so much CC, but it's a swag flag.
He flags and drags his body out of there. Also still had the flash. They might actually find Jarvan. Now he uses the flag and drag. It's a 2v1 situation. Not exactly where he wants to be, but the rest of Team Grove is starting to close in on them. They're going to have to be careful. Now Mortar is there. Solar Flare is going to be used. A lot of CC on Kicks. Gets taken down. Ollie with another kill. And now they need to look maybe to go further. Want to actually disengage on the side of Grove. And KVM decides to not continue the fight there, as they just pick up the blue buff or vision control in the top side of the river as well. KVM taking their wins and going from there.
Killed the jungler, the Baron is gonna spawn right now. Last game, they picked it up at 21 minutes, which was really early. Are they going to look for another early Baron play? Of course, they do have the Senna here, which is not the greatest in doing damage to Baron. Of course, he lacks that consistent damage definitely this early in the game. Probably not as much possibilities there for them. However, Mandrago doesn't have any trouble playing this 1v2 in the bot lane, while of course Pisco had all the time in the world to run.
Both bottom lanes going hard for these for this turret now. One protecting, one attacking. They really want to take this turret down. However, now it does look like Jin and Janna are going to be backing off. Oriana is missing. Sichuan is not on the map. We don't know where they are. Feeling the pressure on their lane. Not going to have any though. But of course, without vision, how would you know? As Set does win the top lane turret exchange eventually. First turret does go to him. 10-5 in kills. 2k gold, sorry, 1k gold difference in the advantage of KVM. Not a lot, basically an even game.
As we said, I feel like they're stalling on the side of Team Grove. They're not trying to do too much. If they can, they would just all stay in the lane and farm up until they're at a point where they can take it over with their poke. Of course, we know Zoe as a champion. I don't like it, but it's just the fact that she is the old Nidalee. She can one-shot someone without any trouble, and talk about trouble, the bubble, make sure that she can miss that skill shot. So it's gonna be hard if she gets to that stage. Of course, KVM does have the front line to counteract it, and well, we're talking about this in 30 seconds. The third Drake of the game is coming up, and if KVM is able to get that, they're at soul point, so they need to do something.
Yeah, and if KVM Academy can even pick up the Mountain Soul eventually, they're gonna have a very tanky Sejuani, very, very tanky Leona. That's gonna be an issue for the likes of Team Grove, as they are slightly behind at this point. KVM gonna have to want to contest this next Drake, because as you said, gonna put them on soul point. Drowsy onto Leona. Not gonna follow that up, as Grove did start the Drake, however.
Yeah, finally, they are initiating a play themselves, really going for it now, but KVM gonna engage here.
They are looking for the engage with Sejuani, but there's that counter engage. A 3-man showstopper from Set. They find the first kill on Mandrago. He goes down. The damage is basically gone as the dunk comes onto Mortar as well. This fight is going towards Team Grove all the way. Ollie's gonna go down. The only survivor right now, Mortar. He's gonna get chased down, expecting a flag and drag in a couple of seconds. 3, 2, 1, there it is. He heals a boatload, however, looking for Moonman right now. Not gonna find it. Is it enough? No, he flashes on top of it. Counter flash, might be able to get out. Red buff is, however, enough. And the only survivor, sorry, not one of 2 survivors, does go down. And only Jerry left, as Team Grove picking up their first Drake of their first Mountain Drake, sorry, of this game.
And what happened? We haven't seen Team Grove all game. They didn't do anything, and now they said, you know what, it's time. We're gonna group, we're gonna start the Drake, we're gonna let KVM come, we're gonna beat them. And that's exactly what they do here. A huge, huge showstopper from Durkin combined with a Battle Star for Cruelty just blows up Mandrago at the start of the game. That's of course a danger that you create when you have this huge front line playing against a Set. Yeah, you can just use it like a basketball and dunk you on the AD carry, and then it's very, very fast to die for Mandrago. With that first pickup, the fight was easily won by them. They pick up this Drake. It's 2-2 in Drakes. They even have a slight gold lead now. And the question is, how does KVM need to play this to win? First and foremost, try to not stand in a line between Set and your AD carry. That might be a good start. And then, of course, try to pile on the back line, because the front to back is very hard to win.
Of course, they have Senna. She's gonna scale into the late game with the souls that she can pick up throughout the game. Has the Kraken Slayer and the Ginsu's ready, built, complete. So he's gonna be doing quite a lot of damage as Set at this point, and this is what we spoke about before. KVM Esports Academy has the engaging, has the possibility to run into the enemy team with the comp they have. But then the draft from Team Grove is drafted to counter exactly that, with a Set ult, with a Janna ult. And that's what happened at the Drake. Sejuani walked forward and Set just said, no, I'm gonna just bump you back into your team, and hit a huge showstopper, which turned the fight around, because Mandrago was dead very early on in that fight, and then their damage is halved.
Yeah, and of course the
Zoe is in a world of hurt, gets caught out of position with Sejuani ult on top of her face, and the solar flare that's so much CC, and they find a kill, and they're looking to go for Baron even.
Instantly starting it. They know that Set is on the bot side. He is the big threat. Need to make sure that he's not there. However, the teleport is coming in and their jungler is up. This is an insane flip from KVM and a big risk. They are fighting now.
The engage from Leona onto Jarvan, trying to find the jungler there, as Wukong does find the backline. Look at the damage onto Jin, is going to be enough. But meanwhile, Set in the backline finds Mandrago again. Durkin picking up the kill. Jin still alive, has that Janna next to him to make him survive this fight easily. A double kill eventually with the curtains call, and KVM going for a coin flip fight, losing the fight, losing the Baron pressure, and even losing the Baron altogether because of their flip fight.
Yeah, that risk I don't like, that one from KVM. Of course, Grove playing it out so well. Durkin with the teleport. And you see Mortar and they try to do the same thing. They dive in the backline, fight 1v3. And Durkin, in this game, he can do it more effectively than Mortar. He's not able to kill the Jhin, of course, with all the protection that Janna provides, with the shield, with the heals. You just can't kill him. And then you come into a fight where you lose your top laner, you can't kill theirs. He kills your AD carry effectively in a 1v3. Yeah, that is extremely hard to do anything about. They should have taken into account that the teleport was coming in and that the fight is going to be hard. They have a wombo combo, but if they can't find multiple targets in their key abilities, then the fight will not be going their way.
Of course, nothing is lost yet, however. A close to 4k gold advantage for Team Grove right now, as they are starting to get into this fight. And we can see in these fights Wukong jumping into the back. Order finds the Cyclone, finds the second Cyclone, finds the Jhin, keeping him out and away from his own backline. But he's not able to kill the Jhin quite yet because of the Janna next to him. She has the moon, the ultimate. Forgot the name. She has the tornado. She has the shield. So there's so much, and I was looking at the Moonstone Renewal, which of course she has as well. So there's so much.
Monsoon, it sounds like
Monsoon, Moonstone. There it is. So she has so much protection for the Jhin that Wukong alone cannot take the Jhin down at this moment, making it really difficult for KVM to take down the backline, as Seth is able to survive for longer and being able to pick up Mandrago in these fights.
And KVM is being very clear. You see Jerry just zoning away the siege from Grove with that shockwave on set. Rocked the Sterax, and they let Mandrago just shove that top lane turret on his own, because, you know, we usually didn't really expect Ascena to be the best turret shover, because she didn't have any attack speed. But if you look at the build, attack speed is no problem. You have the Kraken Slayer, you have the Ginsus, you have the Zeal coming in. There will be tons of continuous damage from this champion coming out. And Jerry isn't weak as well. He's 2-0-3. He's farmed pretty well. If they get the combo that they're searching, then a fight can be in their favor without a problem. But it is very difficult, because you're playing against the Galefort, Cleanse, Jhin. How are you going to catch them?
Yeah, Galeforce Cleanse, Jhin with a Janna next to him. Flash, of course, footwork even, I guess, to get a bit of extra movement speed. So it's really, he's pretty slippery at this point. However, if they do find the Jhin with the Seju ult, Wukong Cyclone, the Shockwave from Orianna on top of that, if they can find that in the fight, and they can pick off Moonman, then they can turn it around. But it's really difficult for them to get there, because of the set disrupting the backline from KVM, putting a lot of attention from KVM's front line even into their own backline to peel for Mandrago's Senna at this point. It's going to be difficult for them to find Moonman's Jhin. However, at this point, that was a possibility, but the Gale Force, he gets out.
Of course, Gale Force being nerfed with 90-second cooldown right now, which means that a step like that, Moonman cannot really do that anymore.
He has Flash.
For the upcoming minute and a half. Yeah, he has Flash, but that's even worse than your Gale Force.
And by the time he does use his Flash, then after that his Gale Force is up again. He can do it again, so then he can do it 3 times.
Yeah, you could say he's been oiled up, super slippery, has all the movement speed and cleanse in the world. But you can oil yourself up as much as you want. If you get stunned at some point,
you're screwed.
then you're dead.
True.
But they need to bait all his skills out, so it's not gonna be easy. However, we see Jerry level 17, highest level in the game. So that's when I say that that guy is strong, but he has to pull his weight for the rest of the team, because Ollie level 13 against level 16. Mortar also a level behind, same for the bot lane. So they do have their work cut out for them. But if they can scale, if they can stall the game, you will get that Senna that is also a monster. So there are possibilities. Then they can't lose big team fights and let their base be broken open. For now, it looks like Grove trying to set up sneaky dead brush in their own jungle. Love it.
Oh. Leona gonna get caught out, knocked up once, knocked up twice. Is she gonna be able to survive with the shield? Is gonna be enough to heal from Mind Drago as well. It should be a living Leona here as she returns to base to get healed up, of course, and it's looking really difficult for KVM at this point. Soul point, of course, for Team Grove. They are waiting another minute and a half until that next and final, possibly final Drake spawns. And KVM, they need to find Jhin in these fights.
I love how they are defending their vision though. They're not gonna give that pink up just like that. Sort of they're hitting Zoe, but they decide that they do not have enough vision to go there. Of course, if you die in the jungle, then you lose the Baron as well. It's up in 15 seconds, so you can't just go in heroically with your eyes blind. That is not what you want at this point in the game. Of course, we are almost 33 minutes in. We are heading towards late game. There is practically no goal difference at this point. And KVM starting up the Baron instantly. Not sure if Grove knows this.
Grove does know this. They were walking there already, but it's gonna go pretty low. 3k on
flip.
Baron. This could be a flip as Jarvan comes in for the steal. Team Grove taking away the Baron. KVM had started it. They're not able to finish it out. Smited because Oli is out leveled. Level 17 versus level 13. It gets taken away. It was a good attempt by KVM, but they were not able to get Jarvan out of there. Seju ult is up, Shockwave is up, Solar Flare is up. Why didn't they use the CC on Jarvan instead of going for the flip?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that play at all. They might have thrown the game and Set throws the Sejuani. What are they gonna do?
This is a one-man ult by Set, but it's still the Sejuani who's not going to be able to jump into the backline. Now Kicks tanking so much. Great Shockwave finding Janna, but it's not going to be enough as a double kill for Moonman's Jhin. They need to find the Jhin. They cannot get engaged on like this, and if they do and they lose the fight, it's looking very, very grim for KVM. If they lose out plays like this, they can't find the Jhin over and over again. And with these Baroned up minions, Team Grove is going to push really hard. They probably won't end. They'll take the inhib though. Bottom lane is pushing as well. It's looking very, very bad for KVM at this point.
I cannot believe that they flipped the Baron. Maybe they felt like they needed to make this desperation play, that they were not going to outscale Team Grove. But if not, then that was just a very bad decision on them. There was no reason to keep doing the Baron when you have a jungler threatening the steal. And as we know, stealing a Baron for the jungler, it's way more comfortable to be in that position than the one that has to secure it, because all the pressure is on you. You better not smite wrong or else it's your fault. And here, Kicks is just being the hero that Grove needs, and he steals the Baron, they win the fight, they got the soul. They got so much out of that, out of an unnecessary play from KVM. So if they lose this game or if they win this game, doesn't matter. They really need to go back to the drawing board and decide what they want to do in these situations.
And it was
they still have the wombo combo, so
they can still turn the game around with a correct engage. And once again, if they find Jhin in these fights and can take him down early, of course, as we said, really difficult for KVM to actually reach him at this point. And the weirdest thing for me is still, sure, they go for the Baron play, might not have been the best idea, but they knew Jarvan was there, they knew they had vision in the pit, and yet they didn't use any form of utility to actually stop the Jarvan, who was at that point 2 or I think even 3 levels up on Oli. So they knew they could very likely get outsmited. yet they didn't really try to do anything about it. Now Mountain sold up Team Grove is knocking on your base. If you're KVM, what do? Do you give up and fight at the Nexus turrets, or do you fight here?
I would say you fight here. You want to fight immediately because of course when you give up these towers on your inhibitor, you're gonna give up the Nexus as well. So you do not wanna do that. Of course, Mortar in so much trouble here. He cannot do the 1v1 against Durkin. So he needs either help or give up the inhib. And I think the help is there. The cavalry.
Turkin at this point doesn't really care about Wukong. I think Wukong, never mind.
Wow.
Wukong used a lot of abilities, a lot of auto attacks on Durkin, but he's still full HP. They find Mindrago Senna. He tries to survive with heals, with shields, but without the Orianna, she got one-shot by Zoe. It does not look like KVM can turn this around. Facebreaker on 3 people, Haymaker on 3 people as well. Seth carrying his weight easily this game, this end game, as KVM is gonna lose this fight, get another classic freeze from Riot Games, but that of course means that the game is over and KVM losing the first game in this best of 3 against